Okay, to finish up my video on the literature, I feel like we have a Mandela effect thing going on here because I know I've used one of these manuals. I just flipped through every single one of these suckers, couldn't find it. But if you go on, PPI still does have the old manuals for these, and the crossovers are the same, so the detents will be the same. Just look up the 4100, I know the 1400 because this doesn't have it in it, and I know I used it to dial in those XPL 10s because I dialed them from 40 to 110 was what I was using for mid bass, and I was able to use that for uh, the sub to the low pass crossover. I dialed down to 110. In the sub, I dialed from 5 up to 40. It was just a crossover the 18s with my 6.5s. And it was pretty sweet. I was gonna have to upgrade my electrical, and I didn't really want to do that. Um, I'm looking at doing that so I can add actually 3 amps because the 4100 does draw a bit of amperage, and the 2350 of course draws a lot, but as is, I mean, it's I have to absolutely be pumping it while I'm at rest, which I have the 496 big block, so it's at very low RPM almost all the time. But when you're driving, I have no problems. I don't have my headlights dimming. But when I'm it idles very low RPM, and then I'll have issues. Then my headlights will flicker on and off and whatnot. But yeah, I used to have people. It was actually kind of nice driving to work. People would turn their brights off because they think I was flashing them. But um, it gets annoying after a while. Other things I have for literature. This is a really cool manual. Somebody coat it in tape though to like preserve it. But this thing is kind of sweet for this SX series. It has the original purchase receipt from Dash Concepts was the name of the company on Telegraph down Southfield. So a really, really, really busy cross street, and for a 2150 G or SX, they paid 630 out the door. So for 600 watts, little over a buck a watt, but just a really cool manual. They show where they design it and production, product use, but just Orion just had a touch. Everything looked really really professional. We'll start back at the beginning because I want to show that receipt, but just a nice photo of the amp series. I wish I had the one for the HCCA digital reference from the time because those are amazing. But just a really professional laid out manual. And these are things you don't get today. They even kind of describe their expectations as a company as to what you'd be using it for. So you go, I'm gonna grab a 222, which actually they upgrade to the 230, which I have one of these 222 called the Peanut, but I'm gonna run a couple subs off that. They're telling you right here, provides 22 watts per channel. I think bridged, total you might see 100 watts. It's at 88 watts rated. It's for mid range, to drive tweeters, mid range, or mid bass speakers in a multiple amplifier applications. They just kind of let you know. Here the big mystery of the whole 1600 watts. The black amps always do more than the red amps, even though the red amps are the ones everybody wants. It's saying 1,000 watts. That's, at 4 ohm, I don't think you get that at 40 hertz. Like Big D Wiz showed, maybe 900 watts is 960 at most. So 1,000 watts is even, overestimating it, really. Not that it's not an amazing amplifier. Everybody knows those. I remember from the old days. In fact, I faced a guy, and this is when they got rid of wattage because it was so ridiculous. So it was late '90s, but he had a whole bunch of the 4100s, and they put me in his class because I had an extra battery. So I had a ZR1000 and a small. It wasn't a small. It was one of the larger Eclipse 4 channels, but nominal. It was like maybe like 200 watt Eclipse 4 channel. But I had a ZR1000, but I had two batteries in the trunk and the ZR1000 and three Eclipse Aluminum 12s, and he just smoked me. He had a whole bunch of those 4100s hooked up to a wall of 10s, and then like a couple 15s of the XTRs, and that there was it was like it was impossible, but that was kind of when competitions got kind of silly. It wasn't even because they put you in different classes based on this, that, and the other thing. They were really trying to reach to find a way to equal the ground, and I was right in that zone where they didn't quite know how to do that. But just a really thorough manual, really nicely laid out, good fonts, just a real pro. This is when Orion was Orion. I mean, no, not to say like today. I'm glad to see Orion's back at the top of their game. And the bad things I say about Orion, we're talking 2000 to whoever owns them now. I mean, up until I can remember, just a few years ago, was garbage. But whoever owns them now, it's a different thing entirely. It's not based on sound quality or anything like that. But if you're looking at pure dollars per watt, bang for your buck, if I was to personally buy a Class D amp today, hands down, it would be an Orion. And that's not because of my nostalgia for these old Orions. That's because they're doing it. They're doing it best. They're doing it quality. And they stand behind their product. And they stand behind their numbers. And, Sundown was kind of top of the heap for a while, but they're just getting embarrassed right now by Orion. So, then that's my opinion. But I mean, that's my whole thing. I mean, if I was gonna do, go all out and go on a new system and get out of the old school, which I doubt I'll ever do. That's who it's gonna be. It's gonna be Orion, and definitely I have a nostalgia for him, but I have a much bigger nostalgia for PPI. And there's just nothing that excites me. Orion, this DSPLX, everybody's on notice right now. So, kudos to them bringing the name back. It's not DEI, and whoever's doing it, thumbs up. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it, as an old school fan, that one of the names got bought by somebody who knows what they're doing, and it's about time. So, anyway, just a little literature and run through some stuff, and that's it.